The fullback, Hancock, Moore, Hill, Hopewadi, Lyons and Tuvey. The backs, the forwards, Kosef, Cunningham, Menzies, Carroll, Hasler and Gillespie. And for Illawarra, it's O'Mara, Wishart, Timmins, Britton, Beecham, Simon and Eyre. At halfback, the forwards, Cross, Pinchinelli, Richards, Walsh, Callaway and Fritz. Referee today is Graham West. And this wind is favouring Illawarra in the first half as they start play. So it's Manly who've elected to run into the wind in the first half. And the first hits of the match coming in on the Manly 20 as Hasler fumbles it back and Kosef is forced to take them on from a standing start. Hasler, the evergreen, who apparently was on shadow standby, at least for the Australian team. At the age of 34 and still playing great football. There he is, fending away from Callaway's opposite number. So the first points of round one go to Des Hasler over his opposite. Now Lyons to Kosef working up the blind side. 10 short of halfway. Fifth tackle coming up. Lyons is parked in behind the play the ball, but it goes wider to Ridge. Chased by Eyre. He gets his kick away. It's deflected or comes back now to Carroll on the burst. But the referee gives the penalty to Illawarra for offside play. It must have come off a Manly player initially to Carroll in an offside position.
Well, it'll be interesting to have a look at this one, Warren, because I thought that actually came off an Illawarra play, but I might be wrong. There's Mark Carroll. Well, I think it actually came off an Illawarra play, so that's play on for mine. Mark Carroll was in the clear with support. Stephen Menzies on his left. We all know what he can do in open spaces, so...
Well, I tend to agree with you that it didn't look as if it was touched by a Manly player before Carroll got to it.
Warren, they were still inside the 10 metres, I think he's ruled.
Yeah, once it gets touched, but Petey, they're onside.
Yeah, no, they were already... If you look at the side-on shot there, you'll realise that they're... Because of the deflection, the ball only travelled 10 metres and Manly were inside the 10 metres.
As soon as it's touched by an Illawarra play, it's play on.
No, you can go inside the 10.
Petty is right, but it's one of those ones that sometimes is overlooked in the heat of the moment when you get that deflection. Either way, it's a very lucky one to come up with as David Walsh goes on the charge, only 20 metres out, slipping the pass back on the inside. Last tackle coming up, Eyre to play it. It was O'Mara playing it. Now Simon's kick is picked up by Menzies beautifully. Stumbles, away he goes again. Walsh across. Menzies offloads to Hopewadi. Over halfway. Three men close, but can they get him? Yes. Just in time, Brendan O'Mara arrives as one of those three. Simon tries to tow it through at 6 more tackles. Ridge, close to the touchline. Plenty going Manly's way early in the game. Out it comes from Lyons, put pressure on Kosef, racing up quickly was Eyre. Pinchinelli there too. Pinchinelli back in the Illawarra side over the last couple of weeks after missing the first half of the season with a broken hand. Now Cunningham, 35 out. Hasler, Tuvey, Lyons, bit of room to move, he cuts out Menzies. It went to Moore on the boot and he just could do nothing more than tow it ahead. A loose pass from Cliff Lyons.
Well, a couple of loose passes from Cliffy early up. Here he goes, drifting across field, throwing the cut-out pass. Danny Moore does it well to get on the boot. It goes into touch, but that wind playing a little bit of havoc with Cliffy Lyons' passing game in the early stages. But John Hopewadi, before when he made that run, he had 3 players coming across in cover defence. He had about a metre to work in, and he managed to stay infield. What a tremendous effort by him.
Manly have lost only 1 game at Brookvale in the last 2 seasons, so they're starting to accumulate a Bruce Stadium-like record. John Cross hits it up for the Steelers. He's their captain today. And look at the record for and against Manly. 405 for, only 122 against, and compare that with Illawarra, who've conceded 303 points while putting only 250 on. So that's an indication of the difference between the two clubs, and that sort of statistic is becoming more and more significant now that we're getting later in the season and teams have met most of the other sides in the competition.
It is just an incredible statistic, isn't it, to almost score 4 times as many points as you're conceding. Is I mean, you might wonder if the bubble has to burst sooner or later I just can't imagine they could play this way right through to the grand final.
Yeah, I wondered whether their performance last week against the Western Reds, winning 44-24, not as convincing as you might have expected from Manly.
Let's not forget they had 6 blokes backing up on a Friday night test match.
No, I was about to say that, but nevertheless,
you to it,
they did concede those points. And you just sometimes wonder, here's Menzies breaking away. It's very unusual if a club doesn't have a little bit of a trough sometime during a 22-round season. Here's Gillespie. Back it comes through Hasler's hands, and Koseva's the link man. Moore wrapping around Hopewati. Gets it back to him, but it's on the ground. The pass wasn't really on. Moore picks it up. Referee claims it went forward. The Hill crowd dispute that, but it was some clumsy play in the end. They rushed it a little out there.
Yeah, there's John Hopewati. He gets one away to Danny Moore, which is knocked down by Rod Wishart. So I can't see a knock on there from Manly at all, or anybody. Or he's ruled a double knock on. He's ruled a knock on from Manly. I don't know where he's pulled that one from, Petey.
I think he misjudged that one, Peter. Didn't seem to be any infringement by the Manly side.
In reserve grade today, it was a win to Manly over Illawarra, 32-16. 25 out here for the Steelers, who are dominating field position. Manly have barely crossed into the opposition half in this first 5.5 minutes of play. No points scored yet. Here, Pinchinelli. We haven't seen much of John Simon yet. A ball on the ground. No, Pinchinelli's still got it. Callaway. Here. Richards. Wayne Richards trapped. Cunningham was underneath. Hill over the top. Last tackle coming up now. Callaway pops it through. Hancock goes back. Hasler beats him to it.
Yes, well, Illawarra doing everything right early. Desi Hasler there, 34 years of age. That's a nice little kick there. And Desi Hasler cleaning up, but that's a perfect rubber kick. They'll get another 6, Illawarra. And they'd probably like, with this field position and with this breeze, after 5 or 6 minutes, they'd probably like to get some early points on the board, because in the situation playing against Manly, I think you need to give yourself some confidence and give yourself a chance of winning the game early so you don't lose heart, because they can go bang, 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 and all of a sudden you can be down 18-0.
Here's Wishart scoot forward. Centre field, he breaks through. Taken from behind by Carroll. Wishart having a pretty good season. He seems to be getting stronger as 1995 goes along. 15 out now. And Cross comes racing up the middle, but it doesn't go to him. Callaway gives it to Timmins. Gets it to Wishart. One-on-one with Hopewati. Tries to get outside him. Hopewati collars him. 10 out, though. Can Illawarra score an early try? They've been down here quite a deal already with possession. Richards, bit of pressure, but well pulled in by Britton. Nice tackle from Terry Hill, too. Still only 10 out. Glenn here cuts halfway through. Last one coming up. John Simon on the left. Fires the long pass out to Richards. Inside, it's got to be play on still. Last tackle. And having a go as Beecham finally cut down just a couple of metres out. Manly's defence holding.
Oh, Keithy Beecham having a go himself on the 5th tackle, and there's a penalty to Manly. Graham West saying that the markers weren't square, so they'll get a relieving penalty. And once again, Manly's defence holds out for another set of 6. We've seen that a couple of times this year. We've seen that a lot of times this year. Frustrating amount of times for the opposition sides.
Manly with a pretty good record in keeping the referees happy this season. They've conceded 97 penalties. In fact, really, Illawarra is even better, 79. So they've been doing a little better in keeping the refs happy. Bobby Fulton and Marty Gurr up at the back of the stand. Hasler up the middle. Illawarra currently 5 points outside the top 8. If they don't win today, you've got to say any faint semi-final chances are completely out the window. Already struggling down the ladder with Cunningham bustling his way up towards halfway. Currently Illawarra 15th out of the 20 teams. But with the top 8, anything's still feasible. Last tackle, back to Ridge. Wishart looking into the sun. Seemed to have difficulty picking it up, but it goes over the touchline. Ridge picking up 25 metres.
I think it's a fair indication of how strong this breeze is. Matthew Ridge is a good kicker of the ball, and really curved in the air, that ball. Kicked it about on the 50-metre line. It looked like it might go down to the 10-yard line. The wind got hold of it, curved it around, and it went out on the 30-metre. So plenty of breeze out there.
Notice David Riolo playing fullback and reserve grade for the Steelers, coming back from a number of injuries over the last couple of weeks. He's been an important player for them in past seasons. Barely been on the field in first grade this year. Now Walsh to play it. Air. They were flat-footed. They weren't really going anywhere. Away it comes to Cross now. Callaway gives it to Fritz. Fritz, who played that memorable game earlier in the season against Auckland, but hasn't been able to match it. Richards working wide. Pass out, pulled in by Wishart. Kicks past Hopewadi. Ridge gets a bad bounce. Wishart there to tackle him. Wishart claiming another 6 tackles.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. Rod Wishart put a lot of pressure on Matthew Ridge. He came up with a spill unusual for him. And the Steelers have got a real chance here. Oh, Johnny Cross just forces one out. And they've blown a great opportunity there. John Cross, the captain of the side. Hang on, he's come up with a penalty here. This will be interesting. What about the knock-on?
Well, the penalty appears to be for obstruction by one of the Manly players as the ball was on the ground. Jeff Tuvey complains to the referee about it.
Well, let's have a look at it. Here it goes. They've got one man over here. There's Johnny Cross. He goes through the hole. Well, it looks like it may have came off Terry Hill. So, yeah, good decision from the referee. And Terry Hill ends up taking out Beecham.
Without the ball.
Without the footy. So, Roddy Wishart will have a go at goal. 20 metres out, 10 metres in from touch.
Just being strapped. I thought for a moment it was a dislocated finger.
That's his card machine finger too. He better get that fixed up.
Now Matthew Ridge, when it comes his turn to kick today, I believe, from the information a Manly supporter has rung into us, that he's going to be going for 18 in a row from goal kicks. On the other hand, this man, Rod Wishart, 68%. 26 from 38 this year compared to Ridge's 83%. I mean, 83%, that's phenomenal, isn't it? What's Halligan going at the moment?
He's not doing too good this year. I think he might only be 60 or 68%, I think. And Matthew Johns, in fact, has shown this year he's a great kicker. He's up around the 80s. I think he's 82% as well.
Wishart, this isn't easy. 10 in from touch. And the wind won't take it away. It's straight between the posts. Excellent kick from Rod Wishart. Illawarra finally come up with some points for all that field position. Illawarra 2, Manly 0 after 12 minutes. And they have been camped in the Manly half. Apart from kicks, Manly have barely been out. Quickly up to halfway for a restart. Hasler holding the ball for Ridge in the wind. Wishart brings it back. Cunningham's in front of him. He goes away from him, but there's more trouble inside. It's Gillespie. Rock solid tackle. Yeah, David Walsh.
There he is, Dave Gillespie. And Johnny Peard, you've just bought yourself a concrete truck, I believe. You might be able to get Cement Gillespie to give you a hand.
Might be able to do a bit of subcontracting for Fulton also.
43 tackles by Manly, showing the amount of defence they've had to get through compared to Illawarra. There's some tough contact now. Cunningham moving up smartly on Fritz. Fritz runs very upright. There is a target, but it's a big target. Plenty of power. Last tackle to Simon. And it's high and deep with the wind behind Hopewadi. Back to the goal line he goes. Ridge is with him. Hopewadi's going to do it all himself, though, and there's plenty of chases. Now he's beaten them. It's straight through one tackle. Now it's John Simon who has to clean up. Sean Timmins was the one who missed. They had him surrounded. Kosef. More into dummy half. Manly are wide. Cliff Lyons is calling for it. Here they go. Tuvey. Lyons. They're up on Menzies, but they go to him anyway. Hill drops it back. Lyons is around. Knock-on call. Ooh, listen to the crowd howl. Not too many Steelers supporters here.
No, plenty of Seagull supporters. This Cliffy putting Stephen Menzies in. Almost got through that hole, Menzies. He gets rid of that ball and... Well, Terry Hill looked like it went back to me. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, and it looked like it might have been the Illawarra hand almost knocking it. So that was a bit tough on Manly. Simon now. Getting it away to Britton, straightening it up. David Walsh running off John Simon.
I mean, with these knock-ons and knockbacks, I think the referees could take a basic rule that if it ends up behind the player, it's more than likely a knockback.
I know
situations where it does end up behind the player, it's a knock-on. We'll wait for see if they score this try first.
Here's Keith Beecham. I was going to say the touch judges are wide up to give them information as well. Here's Pinchinelli, fires it wide, and half a chance too as Richards was coming onto it strongly. Manly short on the right-hand side, trying to recover. Illawarra come left instead. Fritz almost out of one, throws it back. O'Mara puts it through to Menzies, who seems to be everywhere, Stephen Menzies. It was the last tackle, so they had to kick.
And the penalty. Interesting to see what this penalty's for us. Did you see that one, Petey?
Could have been stripped out, Peter. Let's have a look here. Just a hand in there from Callaway.
Not much control from Menzies, though, was there?
They had a great opportunity then.
It must be very frustrating, Peter, playing against Manly with their defence. The way it is, I mean, you never see any daylight. Have you noticed, you know, you've never looked dangerous. I mean, the only time they can look dangerous with a defence like that is using a pop-back pass and perhaps hit them with that second phase play. But Illawarra, very positive, moving the ball around well. I like the way they're just moving to centre field and coming down either side looking for that break. But up to this stage, it hasn't been there, although they've had very good field position.
Mind you, on that last opportunity, Petey, I'm sure Illawarra went the wrong way. Manly was struggling on the right-hand side, the far side of the field, and they came left instead. Here's the last tackle for the Sea Eagles. Ridge with the kick in between winger and fullback. Wishart's got it covered. The hit-ups at the moment, Illawarra 24, Manly 11. There's an indication of possession going the Steelers' way. Running with the wind in the first half, I want to put some points on.
I think they've got a kick earlier than the fifth of Illawarra. They start to make their kicking game attacking more so than just looking for field position. They kick now and get a couple of quick chases down there, a chance of getting him in their in goal. Because Matthew Ridge stands so flat. Look at him, he's playing like a halfback. He's 5 metres behind the line.
Backing away from the referee. Fritz, Richards, Pinchinelli is wider. Or Britain, I should say it is. Jonathan Britton, Hill in a wrestling match with him. Ball almost comes loose. Hill almost came up with the jersey.
And the shoulder pads.
Now they go wide through Simon. Pinchinelli flings it out to Timmins. Runs the angle. Timed his run well. The defence of Moore was up to it. 10 metres inside Manly's half. Last tackle, the kick now from John Simon. Back to the goal line. He's deliberately just trying to chip them in towards that goal line, not go too deep. Papawati surrounded this time. Can't get away from Glen Eyre. Moore. Hancock in a dummy half. The Illawarra player getting in the road. Trying to, well, I don't know whether it was deliberate, but in fact, it might have been against them for inside the 10 metres, even though there looked to be a hold up there at the play the ball area. Hasler to Carroll, who played a tremendous test match last week against New Zealand. Missed last week's game against the Western Reds with a leg injury. He also has some stitches in the head. That's why he's got the headgear on. Here's Menzies. Taken by Simon. Just inside the Steelers' half. Illawarra inside the 10 again. And another penalty goes Manly's way. 30 metres out. I don't think Ridge will go for it. Or will he? Yes. No, he takes a tap. There they are inside the 10 from the penalty. Out it comes now to Hill. Beats a tackle. Back to his feet. Tackle by O'Mara.
That was a beautiful pass by Cliff Lyons.
Another penalty against John Simon. 10 in the bin. And Simon, Manly have played on. It is John Simon going to the bin. They're down to 12. Cliff Lyons across field. Danny Moore to Menzies. Menzies loses it. I think they all thought that Danny Moore would go himself.
Well, so did I, and I think Cliffy Lyons thought that, Stephen Menzies thought that, John Ipawati thought that, all the people on the hill thought that. Warren, there's the pass. Danny Moore seemed to be hitting the ball at pace and just throws it back inside. He had plenty of room to have a go himself. He threw it back inside, and as you said, Stephen Menzies wasn't expecting it, put it down. Illawarra will get the ball back. Let's have a look at this sin binning offence. And there's Terry Hill after a good run, after a tremendous pass from Cliffy Lyons. John Simon's the one over the top. I thought actually Beecham may have been the one penalised because he seemed to be the third bloke in when the tackle had already been effected. Hill was on the ground, so perhaps the referee got the wrong bloke for the sin bin.
In a tangle of red jerseys, it's a blow to them to lose John Simon, their kicker and organiser. Now Callaway with a good burst up centre field. They've overrun O'Mara. Gets it to Callaway now. Pinchinelli. Don't seem too certain exactly where they're going, but they're determined they're going to move the ball and try and run Manly around. David Walsh gallops up the blind side. Takes it into Manly's half. With 12 men on the field, the Steelers. For 10 minutes. Cross. Out to O'Mara. He's been very busy, Brendan O'Mara. He makes the break. Back in field, he finds Glenn Eyre. He can move. Eyre carves his way upfield. Only 10 metres out. Intercepted by Cunningham, and he's got it back. The pass was never going to find the target.
Well, Glenn Eyre, he was looking and weaving and dodging, trying to pick up some support. In the end, he threw a speculator. Didn't come off, but that was a great break by Jonathan Britton. Or Brendan O'Meara, I'm sorry.
Now Hancock for Manly. On his own 20. Carroll to play it. Hasler has one decoy, gives it to Gillespie. He's rolled to ground. Neil Pinchinelli in there with Glenn Eyre. Back to Ridge, he gives it to Lyons. It is the last tackle. He's running it to Hopewadi. Hopewadi, a little bit of room to move. He busts away from Timmins. Gets it away now, touched by Wishart. Great work by O'Mara to dive, to take that ball on the full and retrieve possession. The last thing they could afford there was to give Manly another 6 tackles.
Beautiful bit of beach volleyball, wasn't it?
Richards.
Look how far. Look at the great thing, and Johnny Pearce alluded to it earlier, the great thing about Manly is how fast they reform. I mean, they've just had a 5th tackle changeover, and they've already got 3, wherever there's 3 attackers, there's 3 defenders. They just work so hard off the ball, and there's a knock-on from Illawarra.
So Manly have got it, and away they go. And Ridge is in a dummy half, and that's not surprising, because as you pointed out, Jacko, he's right up in that defensive line, if not just a couple of metres behind it. Cunningham, taken by Richards. 2 points to 0 to Illawarra, and we've had 22 minutes of play. Tooby, first time he's run, wasn't far off going right through. Hasler, Pinchinelli's got him on the ground. Kosef went back all right. Kosef into the clear. O'Mara goes low. Over the top was Callaway. 10 metres out, Lyons thinks about it, goes himself, fends off a couple, intercept and lost by Fritz. But there was Cunningham on the burst trying to run off Lyons, and he may very nearly have cut right through for the try if Fritz didn't intercept.
Yeah, Darren Fritz, certain try saver this one. Look at Owen Cunningham, he's in a huge hole, he was under the post. Don't worry about that, OJ is getting pretty excited, and Darren Fritz comes up with a try-saving intercept. Albeit they'll get another 6, Manly, and you have to say they'd be even money to score off this 6.
Out to Hill, tries to run outside Timmins. Hancock now, who played the first Origin match for New South Wales. Craig Hancock, and was replaced by Hopewadi, and Hopewadi was replaced. Menzies almost away, and Ridge was arriving. Well tackled from behind by Cross. Once more O'Mara was under him. Carroll foraging away in those Illawarra forwards, only 5 metres out. Gillespie pops it to Menzies, loses it. Illawarra have got it, and that was one of the few ways they weren't going to come up with a try, by losing it.
It's getting a little bit muddled up on that short blind side.
To be fair, there's plenty of enthusiasm from Illawarra out there today.
They're in it. They're going to try their best today. There you go, Dave Gillespie turns inside to Steve Menzies, perhaps a little bit hard from cement, and bounced off his chest.
Just as well for the Steelers that it wasn't judged to be O'Mara's hand that knocked it back. Here's Fritz out wide this time. Looks inside, and the ref says it went forward. And, well, Fritz had his hands well forward as he turned it inside looking for Britton.
Yeah, there's Terry Hill getting some attention from the trainer, Brian Hollis. Looks like he might have something wrong with his teeth or his jaw. It's not good news for Tezza.
Okay, Tuvey, the Lions, Bridge, and he stands and stares at Pinchinelli, who eventually goes inside, tackled there by Richards. 30 out. Manly starting to spend some time in Illawarra's half now. Kosef, 25 metres out is Nick Kosef. Gillespie dances up to the line with those short steps and then takes them on and bullocks his way through. Tuvey, Lions inside. Cunningham rips into them. Only 8 metres out. Carroll's down holding his ankle. Lions holds it up for Tuvey. He had his hands free, but no one came through. Kosef was standing back. Last tackle now. Ridge pops the kick through, held back for a moment. Back goes O'Mara and shovels it dead. Ridge only momentarily held back. Probably didn't warrant a penalty.
Well, we've talked about the Manly defence, Peardy, but the Steelers showing a little bit too.
Yeah, they're certainly on their game today. Unfortunately, they've got to last out another 6 tackles, but Menzies is causing all sorts of problems. He's playing about 3 passes wide. He's like an extra centre for Manly, and you know, he's just so hard to contain. You've got blokes like Hill, Menzies, and of course Danny Moore, all built basically the same, with a bit of pace and a bit of size. They're real handfuls for the opposition defence.
Here's Carroll charging back. His ankle doesn't seem to be causing any worries. Scott England, number 28, is on for Illawarra. Carroll to Gillespie. There's England in to make his first tackle with Fritz. Tuvey. There was a quick play the ball. Manly with Menzies now running off Lions. He's got Terry Hill there. Beecham's tackle is too late. And Hill's in for the first try of the match. And a good one too. Manly is starting to get a bit of possession down there.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't worry about the try, Warren. I think Cliffy Lyons looks like he may have injured something there. But what about Cliffy Lyons? Here he goes again. Everything revolves around Cliff Lyons in this Manly side. Just sucks Glenn in here, puts Menzies into half a hole. He used his strength to bounce out of that one tackle, and Terry Hill was always going to score that one.
Yeah, as you say, Cliff Lyons, he's a master, but there was a quick play the ball, gave them some momentum. The defence time to set up. Britton, I think it was, fell off Menzies, as many another player has this season. And Terry Hill there to support and score.
Yeah, there's Glenn Ayre. See, what you can't do with Cliffy Lyons is you can't come off your line. As soon as you come off your line, that's what he wants. You come off your line, you open up a hole on your outside, and Matthew Ridge adds the extras, and Cliffy Lyon will just pop those passes all day, Peardy.
Manly 6, Illawarra 2. Peardy, it's Cliff Lyons, he delays the pass too, doesn't he? He holds it up to the last moment.
Yeah, but Warren, just on that replay there, you just saw how much time he had on his side with the ball in his hands. You'll see it here. But this is the earlier play with Gillespie went to the left. But there's Menzies, Parks 3 wide, but the 11 for Illawarra, Richards, just didn't get up on Lyons. Look at the time he's got. Richards went across on him. It just gave him that extra time to put Menzies away, and of course Hill scored. But he could have a cup of tea with the ball as well, with the ball in his hands, and perhaps a cigar or something. He's got that much time on his hands as he almost ponders what to do with it. He doesn't have to think quickly.
Well, the brain certainly connects with the hands once he makes his decision. Terry Hill over halfway. Menzies inside. Callaway giving chase. Menzies stretches out. Still going. And Stephen Menzies, what a burst from him. Explosive from halfway. Started by Terry Hill. But Menzies is a great sight. If Brett Mullins is a flyer in the back line, well, Stephen Menzies is the man who's just wondrous to watch when he stretches out from the forwards. There's Terry Hill getting inside John Cross, who drops his head, seeing Hill disappear. And Menzies looked as if Callaway was covering him. Callaway wasn't too sure where he was going. Menzies just stepped further away from him, kept the pedal to the metal, and away he went.
Well, there's Kosef, gets the ball away to Terry Hill, who steps off his left foot. Great work from Terry Hill. I don't know if that's, a lot of people say he can only run on one side, but he certainly wasn't on that occasion. He stepped off his left foot beautifully into that hole. Stephen Menzies backing up as per usual, and he comes up 2 very, very good plays. First of all, it was Menzies through the hole, then to Terry Hill, who scored. Terry said, I'll fix you up with one, Steve. He goes through the hole, gives it to Menzies, and it's a payback.
2 tries in 2 minutes. Menzies' 10th of the season. Won't miss this one. The flags are up. If Manly were quiet for the first 25 minutes, they've exploded. It's 12-2 now to the Seagulls.
Yeah, just by moving the ball around, they've pulled this defence apart. There's the Illawarra defensive. That was the hole. Just left a little bit too much room there for Terry Hill. He usually plays down the right-hand side of the field, but good footballers can play anywhere. And, geez, Menzies is hungry for tries too, besides setting them up.
Awkward kick, well taken by Terry Hill. It bounced low and shot at his feet. John Simon's back, so those 2 tries coming while Illawarra had only 12 men. They tackled valiantly for a while, but all of a sudden opened up. Gillespie gets it to Hancock. Will the damage have been done? Will the floodgates open? Can Illawarra maintain that intensity and enthusiasm they have shown so far after suddenly conceding 2 tries? Manly claiming a bit of a spear tackle there. Time suddenly now going Manly's way, and metres gained, scoring 2 tries from the other side of halfway. England.
We talked about it earlier, didn't we? When Illawarra had all the ball and all the field position, they needed to get a try, get some points on the board, get a bit of confidence, because at any time in the match, Manly can just go bang, bang, 2 tries, and the Steelers really desperately now need something just to lift their spirits a little bit, if nothing else.
Timmins steps well to beat Danny Moore. Hopewadi now monstering him. Manly players congratulating Hopewadi. Cross inside. Britain's got it away. And they've got 6 more. Just a hand on that pass from Manly. England. Illawarra look like they're still going out at hammer and tongs, but they look scrappy. Just don't seem to know exactly where they're going, and now they give away a penalty. Such a good attacking position for a poor play the ball. John Cross comes up to question it, not for the first time in the match. Here's England. He hasn't got up off the ground before he played the ball.
Oh, that's a shocking play the ball, isn't it?
I've got to say...
That wasn't even a good attempt at trying to play the ball. It wasn't even a good attempt at trying to look like playing the ball.
In the lead-up to Manly's first try, David Gillespie played the ball in similar but better fashion. Enough to get away with it, but there's plenty of players these days breaking the rules the way they're laid down, as far as having to at least get up off the ground before you heel it back. Kosef, 10 short of halfway. Penalties are now 6-2 to Manly. After early on, the crowd were booing the referee every 10 seconds. Cunningham plays it back. It's Tuvey. Lyons throws the dummy this time, but Fritz held on to him. Tuvey, crossfield, dumbing to Gillespie, and he's away. Now Gillespie's there. Pass came back, 6 more. Hasler's pass was also touched. 35 out with 6 tackles. You want to back them this time, Jacko?
Oh, well, you owe me 100 from that last bet.
Fulton would love to see another try, take them out to 18 points. Would suddenly look a very handsome half-time score when they've battled to get the upper hand for much of this first half.
And they're running into about a 40-knot wind.
Lyons loses it. Well, that time his brain was thinking too quick for his hands. Almost got a surprise when he realised he didn't have it in his hands any longer.
Yeah, even Cliffy Lyons can make these mistakes. Just having a little bit of a look at the opposition, trying to work out where the holes were. Took his eyes off the ball. Look at that hair. It looks a bit like Lionel Richie, doesn't it? Hey you, hey me.
Oh, please.
Does that say you, say me?
The Steelers are back in their own territory now, and they're battling to get out of it. Cross. Pinchinelli. Carroll was lining him up, but pulled out of the tackle. Fritz, pass almost forward, but okay. It's flat, up to halfway. Gartner and Hamono warming up, ready for Manly if needed. John Simon. Tackle by Lyons. Hill over the top, gives him a little bit of a rough up around the head. 12-2 in favour of Manly. 6 minutes before half-time, Lyons was in the road that time, and Manly have got the ball, but well, surely, you know, you can't get away with that.
Oh, I mean, now he's penalised Illawarra. I think there was a definite knock on there from Illawarra, but I'm almost 100% sure Terry Hill knocked it on. Now Cliffy's come up with another knock on. Pretty ordinary pass from Terry Hill. Let's have a look at this now, the situation. Well, that could have been a knock back. There's Terry Hill, he knocks it on. Now Illawarra knock it on, and then Terry Hill dives on it. Then Terry gets up, taps it forward, passes it to Cliffy, and he knocks it on.
Cunningham has come off, and Gillespie, they're both off. Those two reserves are on. Cunningham leading the tackle count with 15. I just thought that Illawarra a bit hard done by when they first lost the ball there. I mean, it might have been accidental, but they were interfered with at the dummy half. So now they're 40 metres out. They have got the ball back after that comedy of errors. Pinchinelli to England. A try would really help the Steelers' cause before half-time. To run into that wind in the second half. Here's Simon. Dummies. Back to Cross. Quick hands. Glen Eyre. Chance out wide if he can get there. He goes himself. Finally runs into Hopewadi. 30 out. Pinchinelli fires it up into that wind. It was dropping as Timmins caught it. Last one coming up. Callaway to Simon. Pops it through, a chance too as Britton keeps it on the toe. Back goes Hancock. Toes are dead. Craig Hancock did well because he was outnumbered. Particularly situation with the ball on the ground.
A good little last tackle play here from Johnny Simon. Dribble once through, and they keep it on the toe through Jonathan Britton. But there he is, Craig Hancock on the spot. Keep that Manly try line intact.
Manly seem to be in no hurry at all. Why not? They're eating up the clock in this first half, running into the wind. Now Ridge drops out. With Brett Dallas out of the Australian team. Who's going to be the replacement winger? Danny Moore's one contender. Craig Hancock and John Hopewadi played in the Origin Series.
Well, Matt Singh would have to be a chance too, I'd imagine, after his performance in the Origin Series. Whether the Origin Series sort of has been forgotten now, I suppose. Something you've got to look at, but John Hopewadi's been in outstanding form. Although he didn't aim up very well in his State of Origin appearance, he certainly has been one of the stars, one of many stars for Manly this year.
Fritz barrel backwards, some strong defence from Tuvey and Hill, and now a bit of a scrap between Tuvey and Fritz. Simon gets it to Cross.
I suppose Robbie O'Davis could go on the wing as well.
John Simon burrowing away. He's starting to get more involved. 10 minutes in the sin bin to think about it. Last tackle. Eyre pops it through, came off Tuvey. Britton's there. Hancock's got it again. He saves it once more. Tremendous covering work back there by Craig Hancock. I mean, he's put himself in the position to cover the kick, but then he's had a lot of work to do as the ball is coming at him awkwardly.
Well, this is what you want from your wingers. You want them to clean up the mess. Jeff Tuvey actually knocks it back over his shoulder, and there he is once again, Craig Hancock. Right on the spot, picks it up nicely under pressure, gets Manly out of trouble again, and they'll get a penalty, and Desi Hasler goes for a bit of a burl. Graham West pulls him back because he wasn't on the mark.
Pinchinelli's complaining that he had made the tackle, that he hadn't interfered, but he was laying on the ground as the ball was heeled back into him. Manly very keen to take quick taps. When we say quick, they're mighty quick today. That time referee West stopped them going on with it. But other times, the ball's been zigging across the back line before Illawarra have known it's coming.
Well, it's a good play, a quick tap when you're running into a stiff breeze. I mean, you can sit there, slow the play down, kick it out. You might get 5 or 6 metres or 10 metres if you're lucky, especially from the centre of the field. Take a quick tap and you're likely to get 10. Here goes Nick Kosef. What a player he is.
Hopewadi's away, chased by Wishart. Wishart from behind, inside to Menzies. They won't catch him. Stephen Menzies, second try. Started by a raid down the touchline by Hopewadi and Danny Moore. They had the numbers, they had just enough space to exploit it. The Illawarra defence didn't number up at 16-2 to Manly. Look at this, Kosef to the blind side. Danny Moore, Wishart had gone inside. He chases Hopewadi, looked as if he'd make that tackle, should have kept chasing, but Menzies was inside. The fullback was committed to coming into Hopewadi once Wishart was struggling. And Stephen Menzies, second try, and what a is. Great work here. Lions once again the orchestrator, moving it to the blind side. Danny Moore's having a good game too. They're really creating the opportunities.
Yes, John Hopewadi did everything right. And there he is once again, Stephen Menzies, 2 tries. And 2 tries in 10 minutes to Menzies. And let's not forget that he did set up the other try. Matthew Ridge adds the extras.
From right in front, Ridge just hurls it over. So it's suddenly 18 points to 2. The different complexions come over the match in the last 10 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, Warren, every time this bloke gets the ball in his hands, that's what did it then, that little jink. It completely threw the number 3 for the Reds right off his game then. But Menzies almost wasn't going to back his speed then, he was going to back his strength. But the speed was good enough in the end. And the half-time, Manly 18, Illawarra 2.
Those line breaks into tries. So here we go with Graham West.
Yep, Graham West says, let's get this second half underway. And the Steelers are going to have to do it tough. Into the wind and up against the Manly side that was starting to run rampant. Illawarra got to get right back to that enthusiasm and the intense defence that they started the game with, equal to Manly's defence early on. John Cross, bring it back, 20 short of halfway. The damage really was done, though, when John Simon was off the field in the sin bin. Manly scored 2 tries, the first 2 of those 3, and that really took the wind out of Illawarra's sails. Now Pinchinelli. Last tackle coming up. Simon putting the kick in behind Hancock, who seems to have it well enough covered. John Simon playing at 5'8" today, where he did so much damage against the Broncos when Illawarra beat them 34-18 just 2 weeks ago. Also, Paul McGregor had a big game that day, and of course McGregor's not there this week. Yeah, there's the top tacklers. Desi Hasler on top, 34 years of age, still can do 19 tackles a half. Great effort. Neil Pinchinelli leading the way, as per usual for the Steelers. Owen Cunningham, Steve Menzies up there, as is Callaway and Fritz. Yeah, I thought after that win against the Broncos, in fact, I was talking to Paul McGregor during that week after they beat the Broncos, and we thought that'd be, well, he thought that'd be a springboard for the rest of the year for him, but it wasn't to be. Terry Hill cuts out of, just dragged with leg strength out of that tackle. Last one coming up now. It's Cliff Lyons, puts it low down towards O'Mara. Could go all the way. It will go dead. So it'll be back to the 20 for a tap. And Debbie Spillane, what was the news from the dressing rooms?
Well, mainly in the Illawarra dressing room, there was a fair bit of talk about the number of penalties they're conceding. Apparently 7 penalties in a row Alan Fitzgibbon counted, and he's not very happy about that. He wants more discipline. Craig Simon's on for Jonathan Britton, who took a bit of a knock. One of the Illawarra players, who I won't mention, told me it's a pity they couldn't send on Craig Simon for Graham West. But anyway, that's another story. Fulton, believe it or not, isn't happy. No changes in the Manly lineup, but one of the things he impressed on the side is he wants to keep the play a bit closer to the ruck. He doesn't want the long passes minimise the effect that the wind's going to have on the ball in the second half, but he wants them to lift up a notch or 2.
Leading 18 points to 2. Pretty hard to please, but I suppose he knows that they just can't afford to drop their guard. Yeah, I mean, there's been flashes of brilliance from Manly, but they have come up with some mistakes. They've come up with, you know, 4 or 5 handling errors, and you know, you've got to be a perfectionist, I suppose. And here goes Johnny Simon. He won't be happy with this. Lyons can't quite make the tackle, or he comes at him again. Cliff Lyons does hold on to him. Tuvey was there as well. So once you get through that front line, there's no fullback. Away they go. Pinchinelli on the last tackle, got to get rid of it, or can he get it down? Looks like he's lost it over the line, or has he? Referee's going to check, and he is going to award the try. Graham West awards the try to Neil Pinchinelli. That ball was hanging out in the air for an age. 18-6 to Manly. What a bizarre. Running it on the last tackle here. Richards. Pinchinelli throws the dummy. You can see that try line. He goes for it, and oh, it's been, well, he got it back again. He might have got it down at the second attempt. Well, maybe we can see from this angle. Have a look at it. He's trying. Actually gets knocked out of his hand right there. He gets it back and then gets it down here. So I suppose that's a fair decision. I must have been knocked out by a Manly hand. Neil Pinchinelli, there he is. 3 tries this year. Very important member of this Illawarra side. Really gives them a lot of options in attack. It did look like it was Matthew Ridge's hand that had knocked the ball back. Manly gathered behind the post. Well, Bobby Fulton won't be happy with that if he wanted them to lift a cog. And Jeff Tuvey's just come up and had a chat with referee West. And it's something we see Jeff Tuvey do very regularly, talking to the... I wonder, yeah, exactly. I wonder whether he's under instructions to just get in the referee's ear and try and bend him Manly's way. I suppose he's captain. He's entitled to say things with respect to the referee, but I wonder whether they sometimes do put a bit of pressure on.
Oh, well, I mean, every captain every great captain I've ever known. What about Wally Lewis? Didn't he put some pressure on the referees?
Wishart, 20 metres out, 6 metres in from touch, gives it a chance, off the upright and out. Bad luck, it's points that Illawarra needed. Still, first try of the second half will give them some heart. 18-6 to Manly.
Yeah, just what they needed, Warren, but John Simon made the initial break. Ridge was just behind the line. There, he's moved up into the line now, and he's bumped off there. Got away from Carroll as well, but this is the thing that really put them on the platform for this try. And, of course, they moved it out to the right, and Pinchinelli did the rest.
Let's have another good look at it as Pinchinelli got over. Maybe we'll see whether he gets it down from this angle. Took a while.
Yeah, he did get it down. I think that's a good decision by Graham West. Or the in-goal touch judge, or the linesman, whoever made it.
Back on their 20 now, the Steelers. Pinchinelli gives it away, and Timmins tries to find some space. Danny Moore stayed with him. Fritz. You hear the Manly chant. Give it to him as Fritz wound up. Kosef was there to meet him with Carroll. Now cross. Homono takes him round the hips. Richards. Wouldn't that be an upset if Manly did lose their first game of the season after winning 18-2 at half-time?
Yes, it would be very much an upset, Warren, and would you like to have a bet on that one?
No, I won't put any money on it. Here's Cross, he's unhappy with that kick, just rolling dead.
Swallow got a minute, Warren. I must say hello. Last night I was up in Mackay, the Brothers Rugby League Club in Mackay. 75 years they've been going, the Brothers Rugby League Club. Fantastic bunch of people. And congratulations to all those people up there. They had celebrations all week. Brothers in Mackay, 75 years of age. Probably the most professional country rugby league club in Australia. Run sensationally, and a great leagues club, and it was a great night. Thank you very much.
Must have looked after you.
Well, they did.
Tuvey knocked over in centre field. Gillespie prowling the sideline, about to come.
Special hello to Wombat, my mate.
Let him up, let him up.
Now Menzies. Just on the halfway line. It's Ridge kicking on the last. And he too is wary of the wind behind him. Didn't give it much depth and pulled it up far too short for O'Mara.
Ooh.
Carroll and Kosef the tackles. Cross. Omono comes in looking for a big hit. Underneath was Gillespie, who's just gone on. Callaway. Menzies is in to make another one low. Still think the question that remains, having seen Steve Menzies playing in these representative matches, is he as good a player without a Cliffy Lyons style player inside him to create those half chances, which he then makes so much of? He did pretty well in the first test, but didn't set the world on fire.
I think, Warren, the fact that he plays, you know, wide of Cliffy Lyons and knows that he can get a ball in his hands at any moment. Here's Simon again.
Passes away from Richard. It's play on though. It's the last tackle. Pinchinelli back inside off Homono. It's 6 more if they get it back. Timmins has got it. But now the referee says there was a knock on from the Steelers. The ball was bouncing around on the ground. And there was a hand in there.
Well, there he goes, Neil Pinchinelli. That's after Homono gets it back. That's a knock back. And, well, touch and go on that one, I suppose. Benefit of the doubt to the referee. Yeah, I think there's no doubt Steve Menzies in open space, whether he be an open space off a Cliff Lyons pass or open space off a Brad Fittler pass, you know, is an incredible talent. But I think it's just a matter of him getting used to the players around him. And
exactly, Peter, that's what I was going to say. It'll take him a little while, you know, transition to representative football and playing with new players. It does take time, but he's such a talent that I'm sure he'll be utilised in that manner very shortly.
Yeah, let's not underestimate the performance of the Queensland side as well, Warren. I mean, you know, their defence in that Origin series was just incredible. And there wasn't many New South Wales players who did start, was there?
Absolutely not. But if we take a player like Brad Fittler, he still looked a very good player in that Origin series. Stephen Menzies was very quiet through those 3 games.
Yeah, I got no argument with that.
I think places, no doubt about that, but he hasn't shown it in those big games yet. But there were signs in the test match. Here's England. Pinchinelli. Richards taken by Tuvey, the ball lost, and Tuvey's after it. Well, a little man, Jeff Tuvey, hits a forward, causes the ball to come loose, and then dives on it. What a competitor he is. Menzies was out wide. Timmins is up on him. 3 of them up on him. Gillespie off the right foot. David Gillespie can step on both left and right in that shuffle step, can't he?
Oh, I can do anything.
Omono tries to force his way through. Lions open to blind. Hill. Taken by England. Just short of halfway. Last tackle. Hasler runs away. Got to keep it alive now. It goes to Ridge and they've escaped. O'Mara close to the touch line. Into touch. 9 metres out. Great kick by Ridge when he wasn't really able to set up for it.
Well, that's just great confidence in the players around you. Desi Hasler went for a bit of a dart. Got pulled down from behind. Popped it back to another player who then got it to Matty Ridge. Took his time. Grubber kicked it into touch. Picked up 25 metres. I mean, that's just a sign of a class outfit. Didn't panic.
10,314 dedicated Manly supporters here. Half of them on the hill. That cold wind blowing in their faces. Pinchinelli. Short, sharp pass out to Cross. He gets it back. Pinchinelli there. O'Mara inside their own 20. Timmins straightening up eventually. Tuvey there makes the tackle. Wishart. Hasler jumps. Wrapped around his shoulders. Not over the top of them. Fritz, 1 out. Goes in amongst the forwards. Once again, it's Hasler jumping to lock up the ball. So make sure he keeps them down, which he is. Richards. Hammering away the Steelers, but not really breaking up this Manly defence. Last tackle, Simon with the kick. Chips it towards the corner. Will it go dead? Yes, it will. Kicking into the wind, he's judged it, well, within 2 metres of being dead right.
Good idea, wasn't it? But just a little bit too much breakfast this morning for Johnny Simon. Seems to have shed a bit of weight too. Since last time he was here, last time he called the game.
Alan Fitzgibbon, Illawarra coach, watching on, and a bit of speculation as to who'll take over from Alan Fitzgibbon next year. He doesn't want to continue his stand-in role after Graham Murray was sacked. A few names popping up, aren't there?
Yes, one B. Linda I've heard is in the running, and
M. Cronin.
M. Cronin. A. Farah could be in there as well.
I think Jay Dorahy was mentioned.
Jay Dorahy. S. Mortimer.
S. Mortimer.
Certainly no,
anyone who ever played football.
Certainly no J. Peer, W. Bowen or P. Jackson I've got to mention yet.
And all pretty handy names too. Menzies.
A good club to get hold of.
Last tackle as it comes out to Ridge. He runs it to Lyons, to Tuvey. Gets his hands free. Wishart made the tackle, but it came back to Lyons. Inside Hopewadi loses it. Lost 2 by Illawarra. Oh, no, he has got it.
Touch judge pulled him up.
Ooh. Timmins was about to race away.
Oh, they would have torn the grandstand down, I think. And it's changeover. Was that the
mistake initially on the last tackle by Manly?
Well, let's have a look at it, Warren. There's Jeff Tuvey, great backline movement. That's a beautiful ball by Danny Moore. He's really matured, Danny Moore, as a player. And there's the knock-on from John Hopewadi. Yeah, good decision. Had to go for the changeover.
Illawarra with the ball just inside the Manly half through England. Now it's out to Fritz. Starting to work hard, Fritz, but it's got to be a little bit of variation. He just can't run it 1 out. He is strong. He needs a bit of support. Maybe occasionally pop it back. Manly are too good in defence for that. O'Mara and Hasler coming across in cover, takes him down. Simon to Glenn. Goes himself, finds some holes. Inside for Richards, chance for the Steelers. tacklers this time. Menzies and Kosef, the back rowers. Last one coming up for the Steelers. John Simon out to Pinchinelli. Scored one try inside. Beautiful pass. Glenn Ayres there. Brings it around. Great try by Illawarra. And they close the gap to 8 points with a kick to come. Oh, Bobby Fulton won't be happy at all. Manly 18, Illawarra 10, but 2 tries coming in this half for the Steelers.
Yeah, they went to sleep a little bit here, Warren. Johnny Simon's starting to run things a little bit. Glenn Ayres spots the gap, darts through it. He's a fine young player, this bloke. Gets it away to Riches. Now, there's the play of the ball. Manly are struggling a little bit. They're always a little short on the right-hand side of the field. It goes to Johnny Simon. He gets a long ball away to Pinchinelli. He's in everything, Pinchinelli. Just swivels and turns, and Mark Carroll not coming across on the inside. Getting a little bit lazy with Spud, and that opened up the hole. Pinchinelli realised it and put Ayre in for a great try.
A good spin from Pinchinelli. Ayre there, and as you say, Jacko, just not closing up on the inside, Manly. Just a little lazy there, and they can't afford to be. Glenn Ayres, first try of the season in first grade for the 22-year-old. A real prospect for the future, and Illawarra under 21 player of the year twice, both 92 and 94. Rod Wishart 1 from 2. Glenn Ayre also an Australian schoolboy back in 91. He's been playing some very good football now that he's got his confidence up with John Simon at 5'8". Now Wishart must put this through, and he does. The game comes alive. Manly 18, Illawarra 12, and the gauntlet thrown down to the Sea Eagles.
And he's been pretty impressive today, Glenn Ayre. He actually set this up, the ruck before this one, but just a nice little swivel by Pinchinelli. Hormono overran him, really. He should have zeroed in on Pinchinelli, and Glenn Ayre's there to back up. But Glenn Ayre has been playing very well today. I like the way he just takes the ball to the line. He seems to have a little bit of time on his hands. Always a sign of a talented kid.
And has made 13 tackles. Good effort for a halfback. Probably not as many as Tuvey, though. Cunningham comes back onto the field.
Well, they need a real solid set of 6 here, I think, Illawarra. They can't afford to drop the ball in this end of the field because Manly are just as likely to score a try and put it out of reach.
Yeah, you're right. This is a crucial time. Illawarra just gaining in strength and confidence. Manly dropping off a little in defence. How will these two sides react now? 6 points the difference. Ayre. One of those windy, cool days where your mind can wander, and Manly don't want to do that. Fritz, up the middle he goes. Makes good ground. Quickly to his feet. Plays it back on the last. Ayre. Runs it again. Picks out Timmins. Did well to hold the pass. Still the last though. Simon now with a kick on the ground. Kicked ahead by Pinchinelli. Play on. Ridge chased by Timmins. Can't get him, but Ridge has finally locked up now. They're coming from everywhere. It was again Glenn Ayre was up there to harass Ridge, and finally Timmins finished him off.
Well, you know, I've got to say, I think that Johnny Simon would have been much better off kicking that ball, trying to get it down into the corner. A good chase on. Manly coming out of their own in-goal area, or coming out, you know, 5 metres off their line, I think would have been a much better option for them than going for that fancy play.
Mark Carroll's off. He was replaced by Cunningham. Now it's Lyons. It's a solid tackle too by Glenn Ayre. So that's his 14th, and Jeff Tuvey has made 17 tackles, so he is ahead, Tuvey. Battle of the halfbacks. 5th tackle for Manly. 40 metres out. Ridge was playing it, so Lyons is the kicker. Straight to O'Mara. He's got to do it himself. No one towards centre field. Lyons kicked and tackled. The marker, Terry Hill, lets Keith Beecham escape and gets it back to Ayre. Homono comes in for a big hit. Manages to hold on to him, at least. Wishart.
Gee, he does that well, Rod Wishart. He's the best winger in the world at doing that, nipping in behind the play the ball area.
You've got to remember that this is a desperate game for Illawarra. They're going to make the finals, the top 8. Got to win today. Pinchinelli out to Timmins, and Danny Moore made an ineffective tackle, but Timmins was caught on the inside by Menzies and Homono. Seem to be getting through plenty of defence, those two. Last tackle, they've run it, but now Cross will kick. Comes back to that corner, and that's an excellent result, isn't it? 5 metres out from touch after initially running it. John Cross, the captain, pegs Manly back.
Well, here we go. Johnny Simon just picks it up and rolls her into touch. A nice little kick. So Manly to come out from their own line, 10 metres off their own line. Plenty of hard work. Dave Gillespie walking back. Looking a little tired, the Manly players. Perhaps they thought this might have been an easier game than they've got today. Or certainly at 18-2, they probably thought that it was just a matter of coming out and through the motions in the second half. But the Steelers have got something to say about that.
Now, Cliff Lyons for Manly. Harking back to that win over the Broncos by the Steelers. I remember rightly, the Broncos were leading quite well at half-time too. It was a 12 points to 2 that day, and Illawarra finished all over them with 30 points in the second half. Can they do it again today? Menzies. Tooby. Back to Lyons, losing a bit of ground, but now it's Kosef straightening it up. Win or lose, it's been a courageous effort today by the Steelers. Without those three key players, Rodwell, McGregor and Johnston, and losing John Simon to the sin bin for 10 minutes when 2 tries were scored in the first half. Away goes Hasler. Beats another one. Pinchinelli was grasping for him. Now it's Hopewadi. At halfway, he breaks loose. He's strong. He's everything, Hopewadi, isn't he? He's fast, he's strong. Might not be quite Jonah Lomu, but he's pretty useful. Out it comes to Hill. And in and away, and he scoots away from the tackler. Back inside, Lyons can't take it. Cliff Lyons loses it, and away comes the Steelers. Through Beecham, I think it is.
Great run. Well, it's great work from Terry Hill there to get on his outside. Good pass back inside to Cliffy Lyons. And Cliffy has had a bit of trouble with a few knock-ons today, Cliffy. That's his third or his fourth. Just couldn't handle that one. Got the 5th tackle anyway.
That's Craig Simon, number 17 for Illawarra. He's just come on and had a bit of trouble with Terry Hill there. David Walsh comes onto the field for England. 40 metres out for the Steelers. They're down by 6 points. 21 minutes to go. Walsh. We've had some very exciting finishes in recent Saturday matches. This could be another one. Last tackle. Every play important. This kick from here is pretty good. Back into the corner where Hancock waits. Craig Simon comes over the top to tackle with Keith Beecham. Ridge wasn't awake for a moment, a dummy half. Now Hasler, he bounces away from Cross, a tackle he should have made. Hasler doesn't go too much further though. Manly crowd starting to urge their team on. Crowd comfortable with a 6-point lead. They want it out to at least 7.
They used to winning by 40 here.
Danny Moore. Manly unbeaten this season, 13 straight wins. 5th tackle now, 15 short of halfway. Ridge is out there waiting, and he kicks deep, and then the ball rolls further and onwards to the goal line. Amara. That's the one advantage Manly have up this sleeve, isn't it? The wind and Matthew Ridge to kick. You can always get it down the other end. Walsh. 3 men hurdle towards him. Momono very keen with Kosef and Hasler. Pinchinelli trying to find a little hole up the middle. Couldn't get the pass away. Too risky. Fritz, they're targeting those Manly forwards. Not going through them yet though. Air. Crossfield he goes to Wishart now. Can't bump off more. 5th tackle. John Simon, again he runs it. Flat passes, Craig Simon puts some pressure on Beecham. And Hancock comes up with a bit tackled into touch. Is he? No, yes.
No, it went forward.
Pass on the last tackle, handover.
I just can't follow Johnny Simon's plan here on the 5th tackle to try and run it continuously. I mean, there is 18 minutes to go. They're only 1 try out of it. You know, field position's got to be very important, Petey.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, Peter.
Particularly when Manly looked pretty well set in defence.
Yeah, and I'll be putting the ball in the air once again with this wind. Even Matthew Ridge, as reliable as he is, could be have some problems anyway with this wind.
Well, Manly be hungry for tries, or will they even look for the comfort zone of a field goal? Total tackles, Manly 202, Illawarra 161, penalty to Manly. And right in front of the posts, 28 metres out, here's a gift for Matthew Ridge.
Oh, that's a killer, isn't it? Absolute killer. Illawarra in with a big chance, and, well, I don't know, I suppose, you know, the referee. What do you think?
Well, it wasn't blatant. He may have been entitled to give the penalty, but it sure wasn't blatant. Manly have actually made more handling errors than Illawarra by 10 to 8. Seems a little strange in that Manly have looked more constructive generally than Illawarra, but Illawarra have been real scrappers today. I mean, in the fight at every minute. Who better than Matthew Ridge to be shooting for this goal? And has he got it? No!
Oh,
He's missed it. From 28 metres out, centre field, Ridge misses. A goal that would have taken Manly out to a comfortable 8 points. 18-12 remains the score.
Oh, I'll get that one on tape. Don't worry about that. There's Matthew Ridge. Jeez, I tell you what, Warren, I was going to give you 2 to 1 on that too.
Almost looked like he tried to kick the cover off it, didn't he?
Yeah, bizarre. I suppose that wind's still pretty strong. Maybe he just...
Fulton
probably
curses Ridge's
he
boot.
probably can't believe it either.
This bloke cannot kick. Hancock. Hill to flat-footed Kosef, who gives it to Homono, who starts to accelerate. Has the arm free. Moore attempts to back him up. Gillespie steps well to get inside John Simon, but there was plenty of defence there. David Walton-Timmins. Tuvey. The Lions. Menzies. Hill looking inside, and he busts away from the tackle. Again, it was Craig Simon that Hill got away from. They got... I thought they had 3 markers, but another one backed away. Homono doing a good job. 28 metres out now. A couple to go. Tuvey. Kosef, Menzies. Well tackled this time by Craig Simon. Last tackle now. Just outside the 20. It's Ridge. Goes for the drop goal off his right boot. And it's wide. This time it will come back to the 20 and a tap for the Steelers, and that relieves the pressure.
Great pressure from the Steelers. You can hear them calling out field goal, field goal. Matthew Ridge doesn't miss it by much, but 2, 3 and 4 chases from the Steelers, putting pressure on Ridge. Couldn't steer that one through. They really do need the Steelers now. They need to get a good, hard 5 hit-ups, and they need to kick the ball downfield and put Manly under a bit of pressure.
Up from there, thanks.
Certainly shows Manly respect for today's opposition going for the field goal. They want to lock this win up if they can. Pinchinelli. John Simon. Inside ball for O'Mara. Following through was Eyre up to halfway. Inside passes doing a bit of damage for them. Here's Simon looking at it again. Britton through. He's got Wishart outside. Wishart got held up a little by Hopewadi on the 20. Last tackle. John Simon, what will he do this time?
They're all offside, Manly.
Timmins puts the kick through now. Runs into the back of Tuvey. Ridge dives on it. Referee says play on.
Oh, well, Manly were all offside then. Out wide.
What can you say?
Well, I mean, 9 times out of 10 they give a penalty. There's a little chip kick over the top from Timmins.
You can't accuse Tuvey of anything there.
I tell you, it's a nice ball from John Simon to put Britton away, wasn't it?
Beautiful ball.
And if it should really have been a real chance of a try, because Wishart, if he'd been able to get around Hopewadi, would have been in a tremendous position to back him up unopposed. But he got into a bit of a tangle trying to run past Hopewadi. Cunningham rips in. Lovely pass up for Menzies. Up to the fullback. O'Mara misses. Menzies on the fly. What a fight he is, stretching out. Now they hold him down. Referee allows it. Lyons quickly sniffs the chance. To Hill now. Last tackle it is. And they sweep over the top, Illawarra, to knock him down for the handover. Cliff Lyons always there, ready to turn that half break or the break into 6 points. Wishart. Cunningham, didn't he do well? Put away Menzies.
Yeah, Aaron Cunningham just busting through behind the ruck. Stephen Menzies doesn't. There's a side in full flight, Stephen Menzies.
Timmins having a wrestle with Hopewadi. Now it comes out to Fritz. Omar is injured. He's coming off. Must have been hurt in attempting the tackle on Menzies. Chance out wide though. Richards has cut through. Can they use it well to Britton now? Hill comes across.
Great pass, Neil Pinchinelli. He's having a blinder, Pinchinelli. Oh, it's on here.
Well, Hill probably figures he hasn't got much to lose. Manly haven't got the ball.
There's a headbutt in there.
Punches thrown between Hill and Timmins, I think it is, or Britton, is it, over there?
Oh, plenty. Terry's got plenty to say.
Well, Hill had nothing to lose. Illawarra had the ball. There's Jonathan Britton.
Yes, be interesting to see what happens. Well, let's have a look at it here.
Here it is with Hill. Well, the first push came from Britton, and another push came back from Hill. But just wait a bit here. There's a punch thrown very soon. Oh, well, was it a headbutt?
Well, Terry Hill's been sent off.
The touch judge had his say, and if that's a headbutt...
I wasn't watching. Did Terry Hill get sent off, Peardy? Was it 10 minutes in the bin?
I didn't see the signal. Peter, I'm sorry.
I was watching the monitor like you probably were. I think if we can get it clarified.
Well, we've just seen Tony Hearn get, what was it, 8 weeks for a headbutt. Just don't know, the crowd on the far side haven't erupted as much as if he'd been sent off. And now Illawarra haven't found touch. Ridge races back across field to Hopewadi now. Look at the tackle from Wishart, though. He is sent off. Terry Hill has been sent off, we believe.
Well, that's something Terry will regret.
For a headbutt.
Terry Hill, he was a lay down was there to play for the Australian side on next Friday night.
And I tell you what, all the rugby league world is going to watch the judiciary hearing for Terry Hill very, very closely, because let's face it, the conspiracy theories about Manly about 3 weeks ago were rife, and they're going to want to see justice fairly done. Now, I'm not saying Terry Hill is guilty, but they're going to want to see justice fairly done. Matthew Ridge decides to find touch here after it looked as if he was going to put it on the ground for a moment.
But after that penalty warrant, Illawarra didn't find touch. In the situation, that was just a critical blow. They needed to find touch. They had a great chance to score. I wouldn't be surprised if Manly get revved up by that send-off and score here.
We've got 12 men. Illawarra have got 13. It's 18 points to 12 in favour of Manly. Kosef. Dead right. You know, you can't believe the Steelers could make that mistake after the penalty. They're fighting hard, but it's an error like that is just absolutely suicide. Here's Carroll, 20 out. Kosef. They might even still go for the field goal. Hasler seems to be taking up that position. No, he goes to Gillespie instead. Gillespie fights his way towards the post. Hasler swivels around. It comes back to Menzies. John Simon finally stops him. Last tackle now. Ridge is right in front of the posts. There he is now. No, he runs it. There's a chance too. More over the top. Oh, Lyons knocks on with a man outside. Hancock unmarked. Cliff Lyons knocked on. The pass was a little high, but should have been caught.
Oh, Cliffy's having real problems today with his hands for some reason. Probably is the wind. Let's put it down to the wind, because he doesn't normally do this. Now, Rod Wishart knocks on there. Otherwise, it would have been play on. They do get the change over, so that was a try gone begging. I thought Danny Moore actually may have passed a little earlier than that. I thought he just went a couple of steps too far and put himself under a bit of pressure. Cliffy Lyons and Hancock run mark on his outside.
It's Cliff Lyons' 4th individual handling error. Mind you, on the replay, it looked a little tougher than I thought at first. Simon. Cross. Chooses. Britton. He puts the kick ahead. Back goes Hancock, and coolly watches it go into touch.
Well, he's done some good things, Jonathan Britton. He's done some good things, Jonathan Britton, since he's been out there. He hits that hole well. There he is again in the hole and puts it on the toe. Was it the 5th tackle? I think it was. Goes into touch. So the Steelers got a real sniff here against 12 men. 6 minutes to go.
Menzies is playing in the centres with Hill sent off. Tuvey. What do you do if you're Manly? Do you just play it out and then get the big kick downfield on the last, or do you kick earlier?
Well, the great thing about Manly, the great thing they've got going for them in this situation is they've got so much experience in their side. Hasler's 34, 10, 12 years in the Winfield Cup. Gillespie's the same, Cliffy Lyons, Ridge, Carroll, all been around for a long, long time. Jeff Tuvey's another one. I mean, they should come up with the right option here, Manly, even with 12 men.
Just short of halfway, and there's 6 minutes remaining in the match. They lead by 6 points. Hasler. Lyons into dummy half, 5th tackle. There's Ridge. There's some pressure on him. It's a good kick, or useful kick, but it's well covered by Beecham.
He runs hard. Beecham.
Cunningham hits hard too, doesn't he?
Yeah. But he's a real little, he's like a little pinball machine. He just bounces and boings, and only a little fella, but he's got a big heart.
This is David Riolo. He came on to replace O'Mara. Cross. Pinchinelli goes wide to Britton. Tuvey just drives in at him and carts him across field. Inspirational tackle. Illawarra had the back line set well. That option's gone for them now. Callaway, they're not too sure which way to go. They just can't afford to panic. They've got an extra man. Got to play sensible football. The chip ahead. Across comes Ridge, and he has got the bounce. Wishart forced him to lose the ball, but it went back. On their own 20. Opawati. They can't afford a mistake here, Manly. Illawarra have not spent very much time inside Manly's 30 metres. Came up with 2 tries in this half. They've been very rarely down there with the ball. Menzies.
Well, 4.5 minutes to go, Peardy. What's your plan if you're the Steelers?
Just keep the ball away from Manly and do something when I've got it.
Oh, that's simple.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Well done, Scoop.
Is Hasler knocked over? 10 short of halfway.
Well, they got nothing to lose, have they?
It's pretty reasonable what you say.
They got nothing to lose. The ball up, try and support. They're playing. The adrenaline's flowing at the moment. They really feel they've got a chance. That seemed to go forward.
Yeah, it definitely went forward, but it's allowed to go on. Riolo's back there, chased by Moore. Can he get away from him? He has got a bit of support here, Riolo. Definitely went forward from Hasler, back near halfway. Would have been a handover. John Simon. Done some nice things in combination with the likes of Glenn Eyre and Jonathan Britton in this half. Fritz hasn't stopped trying. Mark Carroll's offside. The referee calls him back. Carroll backs off. Walsh to Callaway to Fritz. Simon. Here's Britton. Away goes Richards now. Maybe Rod Wishart's the man who can get in there and inject something.
Wouldn't they love to have Paul McGregor out there now?
30 out. Simon. Pinchinelli. Wishart was in closer to centre field. Simon out to Glenn Eyre, throws the dummy. Manly chasing across field. Eyre doubles back. Still going, but there's no way through. Little kick wouldn't hurt for Wishart. Wishart tries it himself. Tuvey's back there though. The kick went too far towards centre field. If Wishart kicks straight ahead towards the goal line, he had a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, he had a big chance, Ron. I think he had, in fact, a better than 50-50 chance with Rod Wishart's pace. But that just might be their last throw of the dice, the Steelers. The best they can do now is a draw. Manly, I think Manly will hold on.
From their last 8 matches, Illawarra have 6 losses and a draw. They'd take a draw today, I think. They've been in quite a few of those matches. Really took it to Canberra. They beat Brisbane. They narrowly lost to the Bulldogs. But the fact is, they just keep coming up with losses. Last tackle for Manly now. Ridge, chased by Callaway. They just can't get to Ridge. Out on the full. Here it is, one more chance. 30 metres out. 1 minute left on the clock. Timeout called by the ref. Or was it? No, he says play on now. Here. Simon, he needs runners. Where are they? Forced to go himself, John Simon. Not good enough on the first. You've got to use Simon as the pivot for the runners. Cross.
Yeah, I think Glenn Ayres the bloke that's probably going to do the damage here, if anyone is.
Beecham towards centre field, but that's not going to do the damage. They must have a big play coming. Here. Simon kicks for himself. Tooby loses it. Simon can't get hold of it. Moore has got it. They hang off Danny Moore, and away he comes back upfield. That should be it. Down to the last seconds of the match now. Manly leading by 6 points. Hopewadi. 10 short of halfway. And the siren has gone. And that's a hard-earned win for Manly. And another disappointing loss for Illawarra, but not through want of trying. Without three key players today, Illawarra showed a ton of courage and heart, but Manly took their opportunities when they came.